Each morning, real RSI setups are broken down with entry strategies and the technical reasoning behind every trade. This is RSI Trade of the Day with Verified Investing.
Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. You guys, there was a big sell-off in the markets. There were some stocks that were up. There were some that were beaten up 46%, some down as much as 18%. I've got some key technical levels you guys are going to want to see for some big time swing trade positions. I have additional levels for add levels if you want a dollar cost average into these, and then I'll give you stop out levels as well. These setups are some that you haven't seen since 2018, 2019. You're going to want to watch this whole episode. And then I'm going to go over NVIDIA again. And then one of the members commented on CRDO, and I'm going to show you what I'm seeing in the charts of that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over AVTR. So AVTR is a stock that I was watching yesterday. I was looking for a downside target of $10.83. Looked as if price action was going to head into that level. It stopped briefly at $11.24 and then continued to slowly fade. So if we go to the daily time frame, so this is the 1 minute time frame. If we go to the daily time frame on AVTR, this is the line that I'm looking at. Still today, $10.83. It's got to get there pretty quickly. Any stop below this on a 15-minute closing basis, I'm going to stop out, or any close on a 15-minute basis, I will close out of this position at $10.83. Still a little bit of a continuation move. If we start breaking this level, you've got a additional further downside. Look at this. You go back to 2020, you don't see levels this low for some time. So your next support level isn't really going to be until the $10.17 level. And I don't feel like dollar cost averaging all the way down. So you could stop out and then look for a re-entry at $10.17. SNDK is another stock that I'm looking at. So SNDK, this thing has been pretty whippy lately. I love to see the volatility in a stock like this. When you get these intraday price consolidations and then this continuation move upside or to the upside, I'm looking at different levels on SNDK. I'm still loving the $212 level. That was the pre-market high from a couple days ago before a pretty significant sell-off. Again, now that you're getting volatility in this stock, the RSI is playing out a little bit better and better. Go back to SNDK. So here is the intraday chart. Pretty much just put in some bullish consolidation all throughout the morning session into the afternoon session. You had a slight fade, but the overall movement in SNDK wasn't significant. Now let's go to the daily time frame and see what we're looking at. You're starting to get some negative or continued negative RSI divergence with volatility. So with this big sell-off from the opening candle all the way down, you get a 13% move. It had been up to $212 before this massive sell-off. I don't know why it's not allowing me to do it. But anyways, a big sell-off. Price action then got back up 23%. So you're getting some volatility in the stock market. $212 is still where I'm liking SNDK for a potential short. Sprouts Farmers Markets. This was one of the hottest stocks there for a while. It seemed as if Sprouts Farmers Markets, or SFM, was going to continue to all-time highs and just keep pushing. And then all of a sudden, some market sentiment changed, and now Sprouts Farmers Markets, SFM, is continuing down. I do have some technical levels. This thing was beaten up quite nicely. It did get a pop at this gap fill at $75.74, and this is the 1 minute time frame. Basically put in some bearish consolidation, indicating that price action was likely to head lower. We did try to get above this high pivot point, which is what you're looking for with the RSI getting above 70. However, price action then started getting rejected, and the sellers just came in droves and continue to push this down. Now going to the daily time frame on Sprouts Farmers Markets, look at what I've done. I've taken a couple different levels. I'm going to go ahead and readjust my screen. I've got this gap fill, and this is where it hit $75.74. There you've got this low pivot right here at $74.14, $17.15. So what I've done is I've actually drawn a trend line, figuring out where price action is likely to hit. So you've got this first pivot down here from March of 2020, and then you had this price consolidation right on this trend line. As price action got below it, it got rejected again. And then, as you can see, price action just catapulted above it as soon as price got back. As soon as price got above it, it never came back and retested. So when price gets back to that level, then you should get a pretty significant bounce. Anytime resistance becomes support, once price action gets back into it, you're going to have a lot of it. Also, I've noticed the RSI is down to $14.85. So this is indicating that Sprouts Farmers Markets SFM is way oversold and due for a pretty significant bounce. So $75.15. $74.15 is that entry point. If we break that level on a daily closing basis, stop out of it, and then I would look to enter it at this gap fill right here at $65. This will save you a pretty significant chunk. Obviously, you guys do what you want, but it would be a 12% move to the downside. But this is your next level of support. Combine that with all this price consolidation, you should get a pretty significant bounce from that level. FMC was down 43%. Gareth Soloway actually traded this live in the live day trading room. He walked all the members through it and actually took a pretty good win on it, about $4,800 on the win. So if you guys are interested in learning how we take our day trades, join the Apex live day trading room so you can get our exact entry prices and exact exit prices, and you can start profiting as well. So let's go back to FMC. FMC was beaten up. Now it's down 46% and continuing lower. Look at what happened. Price action looked as if it was going to make a breakout. From the lows, it had a pretty significant bounce, up to 7% move to the upside. And then price at the $17 even number got rejected. And then the sellers just continue to push this down. Look at what happened to the RSI. It stayed about below the 30, indicating that pressure or selling pressure is still there. So what I've done is gone to the daily time frame. Here's a level at 1387 is where your next support level for FMC is. And this goes back, I said 2018, but this is actually 2008, 2009 time frame. I'm going to have to zoom out to show you what's going on with this price action. So I'm going to reset the charts. This is the next level of support. It goes back to 2008, 2009. Again, $13.87 with the RSI. Look at how oversold it is, back to 1105. Once you can get this price action, this would be a great opportunity for a long. Additional support level is $12.36. So overall, I'm loving the charts of FMC. You're into some pretty significant support, especially if we can push down a little bit more. And this could be a good swing trade for a long-term or more of a long-term investment. You can probably get 15, 20, 30, even 40% to the upside, especially when something's beaten down 45 to 50%. You don't need a significant bounce to get pretty good returns on this investment. All right, let's go back to eBay. eBay was another stock that we actually traded in the live day trading room. Similar to what happened to FMC and Sprouts Farmers Markets. You got this nice bid. Price action never really got above the 70. And then all of a sudden you had this slow fade throughout the afternoon session. Sellers came in 83.02 going to the daily time frame is going to be this pivot top. This is a little too close for me, so I'm not really interested in this level. But if you look at this gap fill at $81.43, for me, this is a great buying opportunity for a day trade. More aggressive people, $83.02. And then for those who are even more risk adverse, $79.84. This is a previous pivot high, previous all-time high. So when price action gets back in there, from this extended move to the upside, you should get a pretty significant bounce. We're not quite oversold yet. We're not below the 30 on the RSI, but this is a pretty strong stock. And so we should get a pretty significant bounce before it even hits the 30 on the RSI. So CRDO is the other stock that I'm looking at. Had this nice move to the upside. I'm going to have to go to the daily time frame and show you what I'm seeing. I had mentioned this a couple different times. I was mentioning the first time you could short this was probably around $160. And then I said the max upside was 175, and look for a pretty significant pullback. And then as price action came back down, I was mentioning, look, you've got this beautiful upsloping trend line with this gap fill. So if price action can't get below that, you're going to have a nice rally. Plus, on a strong stock, when the RSI gets below the 50 and it got to 41, this is indicating more of an oversold condition. Similar with it piercing the 30, this means that price action can head higher. So that's exactly what CRDO did. Pierced to $76. It actually almost got up to $180. I said 76, but I meant 186, but $180. Now put in a topping tail. So a couple different ways you can play this. If you're still in this for a short, you can use this this topping tail. You take this pivot top, pivot bottom, and then you would want to play a retrace. And it's actually retracing there past the 50%. So professional traders wait for a 50% retrace to minimize their losses. What you want to do is, if you can enter at 50%, your stop out level is going to be any close above the topping tail on a daily closing basis. And so that's your stop out on CRDO. You could look for a pretty significant pullback. That stop out level on a daily closing basis, let me go ahead and put this in here for you guys. 179.13 would be your stop out on a daily closing basis. You could look for a pretty significant pullback. Wait till this upsloping trend line. If you're getting in now or a little bit higher, you can look for about a 15 to 18% pullback on CRDO. It could still continue higher and go up to $190. It would negate this. This would be another shortable level at $190 and could even go up to the $200 even number. NVIDIA is another stock that we are looking at. Look at the RSI. What you need to know is if price consolidates a little bit more right below this upsloping trend line, price could then push back above it. As of now, we have put in a top at $212.25 on NVIDIA. That could be negated. Be watching for a close above this upsloping trend line. Could push a little bit higher, possibly even go up to 220 on NVIDIA. Thank you guys so much for watching the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole. If you guys are enjoying this, if you guys are getting something out of it, please make sure you're liking, subscribing, following, sharing with your friends, and please stay tuned. Gareth Soloway is going to be going over some of the earnings that happened yesterday. Some crazy movers. Amazon had some good earnings, and you don't want to miss his show. He's got some great levels for you in my trading game plan. So we'll see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.